Flosstube, it's Alyssa. Today is Monday, February 18th, which means I finally met my goal of filming 1 week after my last video. So I'm really hoping that this goes as quickly and as smoothly as I'm imagining a 1 week update will go. And then hopefully that will inspire me to keep up the schedule. So to start off, I have just a couple really quick announcements. In my last couple videos, I've been showing bags made by my friend June at Flosstubers, but I didn't properly credit her. Flosstubers is her Etsy shop for her pattern designs, but the bags that she sells are actually on a different name. They're under So Like June, and I'm going to put her information in the description, but I'm pretty sure she's actually selling them on Instagram right now. Which brings me to my second announcement. I made an Instagram for this channel. So far, there's only my profile picture up, but I'm going to put that in the description as well, and it's Lissa Stitches. And yeah, I have a personal Instagram but it's almost all food, and I don't post that much. So I'm going to really try to post on the channel one. To keep better track of what I've done, you know, kind of for me almost as much as for anybody else who's interested in seeing it all. My first thought is maybe I'm gonna do almost a whip parade on my Instagram. I'm gonna post like starting pictures of each of my whips, and that way it'll just be nice for me to be able to go back and see in a couple months or at the end of the year like how far I got this year. So I will do a whip parade eventually on the channel. I'm just so busy right now, and that's going to take so much work, and I can't right now, but I've gotten the request a couple of times, and I definitely will eventually. Let's see. I also got a request to do a flip through of this this Joan Elliott book, so I'm going to do that real quick. So, you know, skip ahead a few minutes if you're not interested. I thought about putting it at the end, but yeah, I'm just gonna get it over with. So, I have not done any of these except for the words that I showed you last week. There's some that like I'm interested in doing, but honestly, I bought the book for the words, and there's nothing else on my like immediate to-do list. So I don't know. Of course, I love like almost every Joan Elliott piece I've ever seen, but they're very time-consuming, and I don't know if I love any of these enough to stitch them right now. We'll see. I'm just going to show you the really big ones. There's like a couple little like bookmarks, but it's hard to get them in the picture without showing the pattern. I really like this phoenix. I've got a thing for phoenixes. I think this was the same as the front page that I showed you. I really like this one. And it comes with all these different, like this is supposed to be the ball that he's like holding in his hand. So there's all these different patterns, and you can put whatever you want in his like crystal ball or whatever. So I thought that was pretty cool. My husband like thinks that's a really cute, well, he just likes the wizard. I don't know if cute's the right word. So I might do that for him eventually. That is, that's on my list, but not immediately. There's a bunch of like little motifs off of that too, again. Here's my words. So you saw this one last week. My daughter's upstairs for a nap. We're both home from work well, I'm home from work. She's home from preschool for the holiday. So, you know, spending lots of quality time together, it's a little bit exhausting. I'm not gonna lie. She's got so much energy, I cannot keep up with her. but she just went down for a nap, which is why I'm a little more casual today. There's no time to dress up. If I'm going to get this video filmed, I've got to do it while she's sleeping. But I can hear her bear singing to her, so she's not sleeping yet. So we'll see if this works. All right, so that's that. So I think that's all I had for announcements. So then let's get into what I have been stitching. I changed a lot since the plans that I told you last week. I just didn't, some of them I just didn't want to stitch, but then Tuesday or Wednesday, there was a basilisk attack. And if you've never read Harry Potter, the basilisk is, he's like a giant snake that kills you if you look at him directly, and if you look at him indirectly, like if you see him in a mirror, then he petrifies you. He turns you to stone. Or no, not to stone. He just petrifies you. You just freeze. I was thinking Medusa. So anyway, there was a basilisk attack. So to fight the basilisk, we had to, as a house, stitch 15,000 stitches on a scary whip. And for these like emergency ones, we're allowed to count the stitches towards something else. So I wanted to stitch on something that would get credit anyway. So I thought about my scary animal extra credit, which I was going to use my Prairie Schooler Santa 2017 because I had a polar bear. And I remembered the thing about the polar bear. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, when I showed my Prairie Schooler Santa in my plans last week, I said that I just learned a cool fact about polar bears, like how to survive an encounter with them, I thought. And I could not think of the fact. Okay, so I thought of it. If you're stranded in the Arctic and you manage to kill a polar bear for food, you should not eat its liver because there's so much vitamin A in the liver that it'll poison you. So if you ever manage to bring down a polar bear, don't eat the liver. That's all I got. All right, so scary animal. So anyway, so I was gonna do that. I just didn't want to. That fabric's such a pain in the butt and I just wasn't feeling it. I just wasn't in a very good stitching mood again this week. So I just needed something like easier, especially because we wanted to get a lot of stitches in. And there was a competition. Whichever house got the most stitches in got 50 points, and then like the second place house got like 35 points or something. Which I don't want to sound arrogant, but I just really didn't care about that because we won year one by like over 500 stitches or 500 points. So 50 points is just not going to make or break this competition. But if you did not, as a house, reach 15,000 stitches, then you would lose 50 points. And I didn't want to lose. So we didn't. All four houses got over 15,000. We're still waiting for the official count. I think it might be Gryffindor. I'm pretty sure it's not Slytherin, although I was responsible for internally keeping track of our stitches, and I stopped somewhere in the mid-20s because like we more than met our goal. So I don't know what our total is. I'm supposed to know, but I don't know. But it's fine. It's fine. The thing about these emergencies is so far they've all been on weekdays, and I just can't stitch that much on weekdays. I work more than full time. My daughter's like not even 3 yet. She takes a lot of time and energy. You know, my husband also works long hours. So weeknights are just really hard on us. They're just not my best stitchy time. If we have an emergency happen over a weekend at some point, maybe I'll crush it. But for now, I'm just trying to like do my best and just give myself grace for that, you know. Some people in our house stitched like over 1,000 stitches or over 2,000 stitches. That's just never going to be me on a weeknight. I just can't. So I think I got like 300 or 400 in. It was a pretty poor showing, but we got over 15,000. That's all I cared about. So anyway, for that, I switched to Brave because it's also a giant bear. So I used this for my scary animal, and then that was only 200 stitches required, and there was still time left in the basilisk challenge, so I decided to use it for one of the year-long challenges. And so what I chose was the Philosopher's Stone, the 7 tasks, because nope, I chose the 7 Horcruxes. Because one of the Horcruxes was a diadem, which is a crown, and the little queen bear is wearing a crown. So that was another 1,000 stitches. So I've got like 12,000 stitches in this since the last time you saw it. And I'm not going to insert a picture just because I don't have time to really edit today. But I had the crown done, and I had this ear outlined, like down to right about there. And that's it. So I did the rest of the outline and then all this fill-in as part of the challenges. So I'm pretty happy with that. And I keep mentioning this like crazy thing I have where I don't want to reuse the same pattern more than once, because my Slytherin friends gave me a lot of other ideas of where I could use this in the year-long challenge. Like I think we came up with like 5 or 6 of the year-long challenges that I could have used this pattern for, and maybe I will. I don't know. But I figured out my issue with it. It's that I have so many whips that I love, and I just want them all to get equal attention. So I don't want to play favorites and use one too much. But I will if I have to. I mean, if it comes down to getting the points or not, I'm going to reuse one. But I'm not there yet. I still have plenty of ideas for other whips. So the next thing was the 3 tasks for the weekly homework. So the first one was to stitch on a cat. So I stitched on Alice in Wonderland because of the Cheshire Cat. And I didn't get very far. I put in the bare, by the time I got to the homework, it was already like Saturday afternoon or something. And like I said, I just wasn't in a stitching mood. So I just put in the bare minimum because I didn't want to run out of time. So I had the swirl all the way down to right above this blue star. And I had this swirl completed. So I did the star down here and then across this little bridge. And that's it. But honestly, these like 200 stitches at a time, I don't mind it. Sometimes I want to stick with a project. I'm sad to put it away. And almost every time I'm a little bit sad to put it away. But a lot of times I'm ready. Like I said, I just have so many projects that I love, and I just want to keep stitching on all of them. So the next was I Solemnly Swear by Fiddlesticks AU, and I will insert a picture of what that's going to look like here. And this is for the task, something that you're modifying. And I'm modifying that stripy scarf to be just plain green. I'm not going to put the stripes in. So I already had the letters for swear and the letters for no good done. So what I put in this week was that light green going across, and that's the width of the whole scarf. And then I started the letters inside, and they're going to say that I am up to. So pretty happy with that. And this is the modification that I stole from Amy, because I just think in the Slytherin colors, this scarf with the stripes is illegible. I just don't think you can read the words. So I think it's going to look much better in just the green. So next up was stitch on something with a ghost. And I had been debating last week whether an angel is a ghost. And my friends all said no. So I was going to do the forfeit stitches, and I put my Angel of Cross Stitch on my frame. I had it all on the Q-snap on the frame, ready to go. I just didn't want to. It's a big, complicated pattern. There's a lot of confetti. There's that's the pattern that uses one of every DMC color there is. So the pattern is in color, and she reuses the same symbol 4 times, but like black, green, blue, and red, or something like that. Maybe it's even more. Maybe there's like even purple or something there, even more than 4 times. I don't know. But it's just a lot of work to follow the pattern, and there's no big stretches of color because she's got to fit so many colors into the pattern. So it's a lot of changing floss, and I wasn't into that. So I remembered I had seen somewhere on the thread or on the group that a Patronus would count as a ghost. So I decided to use Always by Mary Borey Embroidery, and I'm going to insert a picture of what that will look like here. And I second guessed myself when I like put it on my homework thread, you know, like went to turn it in or whatever. I second guessed if it really counted. So I decided to just do the forfeit stitches to be safe. And I'm happy I did. I'm really happy with the progress that I made on this one. I'm really loving how it looks. So last time I had this lightest purple on these 4 letters, I think, F-T-E-R, just the top lightest purple. So you couldn't even tell what they were. And then I had like this ear done. So I finished the whole top row of letters, and then I put in this ear and a little bit down here. And that's it. I don't like inserting starting pictures because it just takes me so long when I'm editing to find a good cut. I don't have a Mac, so I have to do it on my Windows PC. And I mean, I can do what I need to do. You know, it's good enough to get it done. And I'm filming on my iPad, and I think that there might be a way that I can edit right on my iPad, but that sounds like much harder than editing on a computer. But if anybody else edits on a PC and has any suggestions of how to make it easier or faster, I would love to hear them. I wish that I could edit more, but I'm just so behind. I feel like I can't catch up on life right now. So I love filming these videos, but they definitely take a lot of time. Okay, so that's, oh, and then the last thing is, so I finished that like yesterday afternoon, the homework. And I wanted to do a little stitching in the evening, and the new homework had not been posted yet, so I decided to work on one of those extra credits that I showed you. I might be changing those too, but I haven't decided what yet, so for now we're just going to say I'm still doing what I said last week. But the one that I worked on is something that is howling for attention, and so I am doing my Christmas train, or Colorful Candy Train is what it's called, by Ursula Michael. I did show this last week, but you know, you'd think that I'd like get my stuff together and bookmark these pages or something, be a good YouTuber, but that's what it's gonna look like. And so what I had last time was this and this red. So I put in this and like these squares and this little bit down here. And you can kind of see it. Actually put that candy in the middle here. It was wrong. It was one too low. One stitch too low. So I frogged that. So, yeah. I have to get 500 done on this for the extra credit. So since it's already on my frame and everything, I'll probably just keep on with this until that's done. And then I'll move on to this week's homework, unless it starts getting late in the week and I start getting nervous about getting the homework done, because it is a pretty big assignment this week. So that takes us to plans for this week. So the homework, there are 4 prompts, and I'm pretty sure each one is 200 stitches. And if you don't have something that fits, then you have to double that and do 400 for the forfeit. So that's a lot of stitching. And we're running out of time in February. I mean, it's over halfway over at this point, and I still have a lot of extra credit to do. I think still something like 1,500 stitches I have to get in for the extra credit, plus keeping up with the homework. Plus, I only did one of the year-long challenges this month, and I really wanted to get 2 done, so I just don't think that's going to happen, but yeah, I'm going to do my best. So the first prompt is stitch on something with a skeleton, and I don't have anything in my whip pile at the moment. So I'm going to do the forfeit, and I'm going to do it on Death by Cross Stitch. I let my daughter choose, and that's what she chose, and I'm happy with her choice. So here's where I'm at, and I just worked on this a couple weeks ago, so you might remember, but here's where I'm at. So that'll get 400 stitches. And this is a pretty good one to do a forfeit on because, you know, since it is all monochrome, the stitches do go pretty fast. So that's good. I find right now, part of why I'm not in a stitching mood, I think, is I'm just very, I'm having a very hard time, like, holding my attention on something. So anything that takes like too much brain power, I just don't have it in me. I'm too tired and I just can't, So that's why I've been doing a lot of donut stitches too, because of like the big blocks of color. It's way easier than confetti. There's just no way I can do confetti right now. I just can't. So my next one, the prompt is something that protected kids from the basilisk in the movie. So like I said, there's ways, if the basilisk looks at you straight on, you're dead. But there were 4 kids that were attacked in the movie, 5 kids plus a ghost, or in the book, and they each had something that protected them. Like they didn't see the basilisk straight on because of some reason. 4 kids, a ghost, and a cat. That's what it was. So anyway, one of the things that like protected them, that's what you have to stitch on. So there's a puddle of water. There's one kid saw the basilisk through a ghost. So both he and the ghost got petrified, but since he saw it through the ghost, he didn't die. There was a camera. Someone saw him through a camera. And then there was a mirror. They were like looking around corners with a mirror. So I'm doing water. And so I'm going to stitch on Little Mermaid. I donut stitch. Surprise, surprise, right? And this is one that I didn't properly kit up. I only have this one little Flosstube bag in here. Like I didn't even do the bags for the rest of the colors. All this lazy kitting is coming back to bite me now that I'm in a hurry. So that is all I have done so far. So there's that. Hopefully that's in the right place. I'm gonna have to check that. Oh man. Okay. Next is something to do with a phoenix, which you probably know like rises from the ashes and is reborn. And so the prompt is stitch on something that you had to restart. So I'm going to stitch on 12 days because I definitely had to restart this and it was very painful. Plus, this is the one that I'm doing as a stitch along with Amy Gable Stitcher. I'm supposed to do 1 block a month, and this is my February block, and I'm not done yet. So if I have time, I'm probably just going to stitch this block until it's done, even though that's going to be more stitches than I actually need, just so that I can keep up, because I've said this like in every video now, but my January block I never finished because I ran out of thread. So this was my January block, and you can see she's missing an arm. So I really don't want to leave February undone too. Like the arm doesn't bother me that much because that'll be a quick stitch once I go and get that thread. But if I start leaving like big chunks of this one open too, I don't know. If I fall behind, I'll never catch up. So I'll probably stitch that till it's done. But we'll see. I could completely change my mind. Okay, and then the last prompt for this week is stitch on something that has a weapon. So I'm going to stitch on Stabby by McFly Stitches because there's knives at the top. And I converted all of this to green DMCs. So here's my starting point. I have the whole border completely done, and I just need to start filling it in now. So there's that. So I think that's all the plans I have. Yeah. And then my extra credit, I mean, I'll probably, for right now, I haven't officially decided to change anything that I said I would work on last week for extra credit. Some of them I'm like, I'm not that into right now, but maybe I will be by the time I get to stitching them. And then my last thing, I want to steal from Kitten Stitcher and do what I'm all into this week, because I am into something. I'm obsessed with two things really. So first, I've been a member of Sane Stitchers for probably close to 2 months now, month and a half, something like that. I heard about it on Kate and Vicky's channels, and I don't know, it sounded fun, but I don't have time. Like, that should be what I title this video. I don't have time. So I really didn't like dive in too deep, and because the people in that group seem to have been doing these challenges for a long time, it's not always easy to figure out like what the challenge is. So it took me a bit of digging and like going back through old events to find like where the challenge started and learning about it there. But now I want to do it all. I want to do all the things, you know? So I'm starting with Stitch Through the Solar System, because you can use all of your stitches from other groups and other challenges, and yeah, it's not going to take, like, I don't have to find a special project, I don't have to make anything fit, I don't have to do extra stitches. It's just all the stitching that I'm already doing, I get to count towards that. So I started earlier this week, and with the stitches that I got in this week for all of the Magical Stitches homework, I think I'm a little over 2,100 stitches now, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm pretty happy with that for a week, you know? So my first goal is Mercury, which is like 3,000 miles, and so I have to do 3,000 stitches, or 3,036, I don't know the exact number, but I'm like 2,100, so 2/3 of the way there already, so I'm happy with that. But the thing that I'm really obsessed with is an app on my phone, and it's called Happy Color, and it looks like that. Okay, and I don't know why, it's basically paint by number, but I can't put it down. Like, I am legitimately obsessed. I just find it very satisfying. So like, they have all these patterns, whatever, and then you've got your colors along the bottom, and when like you zoom in, you can see each area has a color. So you like click the color, and then you click the areas. I don't know. More than once this week, my husband said to me, "Shouldn't you put that away and do some stitching? Aren't you supposed to be stitching?" I was like, "I can't stop." And he told me I should get all the other houses hooked on it so that they can't stop either, but make sure not to mention it to any Slytherins, because we can't afford to stop stitching. But yeah, it's very satisfying. I highly recommend it. So I think that's all I've got for today. Hopefully I'll be back next week. This still took longer than I thought. I was really hoping for like a 15-minute video, and here we are 30 minutes later. But I talk too much. I gotta reel it in, you know? So I hope you all have a great week, and I will see you next week.